The Vatican doesn't want you to see this. Sometimes we aren't supposed to know about things that happen behind closed doors. Some words are said for the cameras and we all hear them, but it doesn't mean that we actually know anything. You just can't hear the truth unless you are initiated into it. Everything in our lives has its light and dark sides. When the sun is high, we feel warm and safe. We see bright colors and it seems like there's nothing missing in this beautiful picture. But when the sun goes down and the world falls into darkness, that's when the ugly truth comes out. If you're enjoying our videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Also, hit that little bell icon to be notified every time we post a new video. What do we know about the Catholic Church? It's almost 2,000 years old and it has 1.29 billion members worldwide. You may share their beliefs or deny them, but this organization will exist long after you die and go to hell for watching adult movies. The secret of the Vatican's vitality may have something to do with God, but there are real people who rule it and spread the gospel all around the world. The Catholic Church is a company worth billions of dollars. It sells its products everywhere, making nice profits with no need to pay any taxes. And just like any other big organization, it has its share of secrets and corruption. In 2018, it's hard to surprise somebody with the news about priests speaking out against homosexuals who turn out to be gay. The Reverend Andrea Contin, another Catholic priest, recently testified before a court for his straight sexual habits that involved 30 women. They even enjoyed weekends at a swingers resort in France, which sounds like a nice thing unless you're promoting celibacy. That's all nice and good. But not all the Vatican's secrets are juicy and fun. Some stories are so grisly that you won't sleep at night after you hear them. In 2014, historians' attentions were geared to a story about remains of 800 children found in the sewers of a former home for unmarried mothers in Ireland. Remains of children, including 35-week-old fetuses, were found in an unmarked mass grave. Radiocarbon dating allowed historians to assume that children were buried here during the period between 1925 and 1961. The house for unmarried mothers was run by the Bon Secours sisters. In the 20th century, most of Ireland's social services were run by the Catholic Church. Mother and baby homes were places where unmarried pregnant women could feel safe enough to give birth to their babies. But some things are not what they seem to be, and this place ended up seeing more deaths than births. The people of Ireland have always been proud of their image as a Catholic nation. The Catholic Church teaches that couples must be married to make love and have children, though these teachings are unlikely to change human nature. Sometimes powerful, married men like to have fun with pretty waitresses or maids, but they're certainly not excited about the idea of becoming a father. Being afraid of their reputation, many priests, politicians, and businessmen forced their mistresses to end up in homes for unmarried mothers. In the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, illegitimate children died 5 times more often than those born in marriage. In other words, every 4th baby born in these mother and baby houses died. How could this be possible? The credit for hundreds of children's deaths goes mostly to the Catholic Church and patriarchal values that dominated Europe and Ireland in particular in the 20th century. A pregnancy out of wedlock could prevent a family from inheriting the land. Women impregnated by irresponsible men, sometimes their relatives, were dishonored by local pastors and the whole community. They had no chance to raise their children without husbands. Thus, abused women had only 2 options. They could either fly to England and pretend the child is their married sisters, or move to Chem and seek for shelter in the home run by the Catholic Congregation of Sisters of Bon Secours. This organization's motto was, "God help those in need." However, this kind of help was not exactly what young mothers would expect. A standard schedule at this facility included a mass at 8 a.m., a poor breakfast consisted of porridge and tea, breastfeeding, and then a lot of hard work. The gates were always unlocked, so women were able to receive deliveries, but in fact, they were in cultural imprisonment. Nobody dared to leave these walls because they knew they would find no place for them and their children outside. The Bon Secours sisters had full control of the home. Some of them decided to follow Jesus, being young girls. Others have chosen the sort of life to not become forever pregnant wives cooking and cleaning after their husbands. Their spiritual status offered them safety and education. The discipline in the small community was built on a solid Catholic foundation and topped off with habits of each particular nun. Some guests were punished with the rod, while others couldn't see their children for weeks. If sisters didn't like your behavior, they could put you in the mental asylum in Ballinasloe, or even worse, in a Magdalene laundry. In these facilities, lonely mothers were sent to work and often became pregnant again after being assaulted. So there is no surprise that most women chose to stay near their children in the mother and baby home. However, the main purpose of this facility was to make these women penitent. They could see their children as long as the latter needed breastfeeding. After a year of social isolation, young mothers were forced to leave. Since then, sisters took rights upon children. In fact, they turned kids that already had no fathers into complete orphans. These children lived in terrible conditions. Those who spent their childhood behind these walls described this place as a coop full of chickens. Many of them suffered from various diseases and infections. When they died, nobody tried to bury them properly. After historians got access to documents, they noticed that there were hundreds of birth certificates and only 2 death certificates. These 2 orphans were legitimate, so they were buried in the town graveyard. As for other children, they were forgotten in the backyard of the house where God helped those in need. Alright, Top Fivers, if you haven't already, make sure to visit our other channel, The Brilliant, for even more interesting list videos that'll blow your mind. But I'm warning you, the videos over on The Brilliant are extremely addicting to watch as well. There'll be a link in the description to the channel, so make sure to come and visit us. Or you can go to our latest video popping up on screen right now. Oh, and have you visited thefinestpost.com to enjoy the most amazing articles you'll ever get to read?